So The Wind Rises really done a number on me. Um, this movie, as I explained it to my wife, tore my heart out of my chest, threw it on the ground, and spit on it. At the same time, I was halfway inspired, or I guess it's more accurately would be first hour I was inspired, and the second hour I was heartbroken. uh, this is this is a movie about dreams and tragedy, and how dreams are followed by tragedy and how tragedy are followed by dreams. As one of the characters says in this movie, would you rather live in a world with pyramids or a world without? Referencing the Great Pyramids of Egypt and the tragedy of how they were built. Would you rather live in a world without the pyramids, where they were never built, but you never had the great beauty of the pyramids? Um, and another great line, airplanes are beautiful dreams, or I think he says beautiful cursed dreams. And I don't know, it just, those lines from that character just hit hard. And then the second hour of the movie, after the main character Jiro uh, meets, uh, I should have looked up the names before I made this video. Oh well. The Jiro and I really cannot remember her name, but the girl he saved or helped during the earthquake meet again years and years later, and they fall in love. But she has tuberculosis, which at this time there's no vaccine for, so it was bound to be fatal no matter what. And the second half of the movie is Jiro finally realizing his dream to build the plane of his dreams, while at the same time running out of time with his wife, or fiance, then turned wife. And by the end of the movie, at the same time Jiro's dream is realized, she dies, which is symbolized by the wind rising. It's kind of in the title of the name, and it's pulled from a French poem that is referenced in the film. Um, this has overtaken Princess Mononoke as my favorite Ghibli movie. I've watched Princess Mononoke at least twice. This is the first time I ever watched this, and it is definitely my favorite Ghibli movie I've ever seen. Uh, I felt the most human watching this movie, I guess you could say. I related to Jiro the most in this movie as someone who, well, should say wanted. I still do want, but I don't think it will ever happen. But as someone who wants to chase a dream and create beautiful art, but things of life and circumstances keep that from happening for me. But Jiro continues to chase his art, and in obtaining his dream, he loses his loses the love of his life. Basically, there's a great tragedy followed by achieving his dream, or a great tragedy followed by a great beauty. I think is pretty much how it's told in the movie. And I never thought I would relate so much to a airplane engineer. I really don't have much interest in planes. I mean, I think they're cool, but besides that, I never really had much interest. But this movie, within the first 10 minutes, I was sucked in. I mean, I was locked to the couch watching this. I don't know if I blinked during half this movie. The only reason I even moved was to fix supper. Um, it's genuinely, I had to wait a day to make this movie or make this video because this movie messed me up so much last night, and by the time I finished making dinner, it was so late. And I told my wife, I was like, I'm just gonna make the video tomorrow. I've got to sit with this movie for a day at least. And I told her around lunch today, I was like, I have not stopped thinking about this movie. And I'm so glad I watched it. Uh, this is gonna be this is gonna be a movie at the same level as The Fablemans for me. Uh, The Fablemans inspired me so much when I first watched it. It's the only reason I even tried to get back into filmmaking and TV and video. And to be honest, this movie somewhat inspired me to try to follow my dreams again. And I don't know, maybe I can use YouTube as an outlet for that if things go well, and I hope they go well, but this is kind of just a hobby as of right now, and you never know. Things always change. Uh, the winds of change, you could say. Uh, I really need to quit rambling about how emotional this made me feel and everything. So if you've not ever seen this, this was originally going to be Miyazaki's final film, supposedly. We all know how his retirements go. Um, and from what I understand, this was kind of it's a biopic, but it's a fictional biopic and with some elements of Miyazaki's life in it as well. A lot of Miyazaki themes in this. This takes place during pre-World War II Japan and during World War II Japan, and it tells the story of a aeronautical engineer who actually exists in real life and was the man who created the Japanese Mitsubishi Zeros, the combat planes that was used during World War II, and the story of how he didn't want to make a war machine. He just wanted to make beautiful planes. But the time he was in, it just wasn't possible. Basically, he by the end of the movie, he did follow his dreams and eventually make the plane of his dreams. But at the same time, when his dream was realized, he lost his wife, who died of tuberculosis shortly after they were engaged and married. And then after that, he built Betty. He built several of those planes, and they all got sent off the war and completely destroyed. It's beauty followed by tragedy. Uh, and I guess that's essentially how life is. In some sense. Um, you've always heard stories of how many artists have, how much they had to sacrifice or thing or people that left them or whatever because they were following their dreams. And I think that's what Miyazaki was trying to portray here with this story. Because from what I understand, he is guilty of not quite abandoning, but not being there for his family as much as he should have during his years of filmmaking. And I think that's why he decided to retire. and make this his final film before he retired the first time was as almost as an apology. Uh, and I think this also helped him uh, get closer to his son, who is also an animator and works at Ghibli and has made From Up on Poppy Hill and I think a few other films. But there's this is a personal movie for Miyazaki, and just for me watching this tonight has become a very, or not tonight, but yesterday has become a very personal movie for me. Um, I don't know. I had to find something else to swap out of my top four because I don't know if this will come out of my top four on Letterboxd, especially anytime soon. It replaced Princess Mononoke and my top four on Letterboxd, that's for sure. Uh, because I love that movie just as much, but for different reasons. Uh, Princess Mononoke was my first Ghibli film, and it was so far had been my favorite one to watch. But after watching this one, this has been the most uh, human feeling uh, Ghibli movie I've seen. And if you haven't noticed too, the time period and everything of the film and the messages of the film almost are similar to Porco Rosso. I guess my man Miyazaki just really likes airplanes because there's like three movies with airplanes. I think Castle in the Sky, Porco Rosso, and this movie, The Wind Rises. But this movie and Porco Rosso share some similarities, at least in the messaging and things like that, uh, and just planes in general. Uh, I feel like I've rambled nearly this whole time. Um, but I I don't want to call it underrated because I think everybody seems to agree this is a really good movie for the most part, if they can relate to it in some way. But I don't think it's talked about nearly enough, nearly enough in 2026. Uh, I've seen a bunch of videos from like 5 or 6 years ago when the movie came out in 2014 in the States, I think. But since then, I don't. I think this has become one of the more underrated Ghibli movies they are. Uh, I think it needs to be talked about more. I think this really is up there with some of Miyazaki's best work, in my opinion. As of now, with the movies I have seen of his, I believe this is Miyazaki's best film. Uh, even before Boy and the Heron, which I loved as well, but I think this is better than that, in my opinion. Uh, not, I mean, they're both great for their own reasons. They're both 5 out of 5 on Letterboxd for me. Same thing with Spirited Away and Princess Mononoke. I think they're all 5 out of 5s on Letterboxd, but I like them all for different reasons and for different feelings I get when I watch them. But this one made me feel many, many different emotions. Like, I was genuinely inspired during the beginning of this movie as Jiro was going through his journey of becoming an engineer and working towards his dream of making airplanes. And then he got a job making airplanes, but at the same time, he had to make them for war. He didn't couldn't make his airplanes for the reasons he wanted to, and he never outright says no to that. That he's there's several moments where he shows he's obviously opposed to it, but at the time, I mean, you can't. there's not much he could have done by himself for the time and places and things he was in. There's even a point in the movie where the secret police was secretly investigating him in Japan, thinking he was a enemy or spy or some kind. Uh, it's I don't it I don't know what else to say, honestly. If you've not ever seen this, this is the movie to watch of his. This is this is a Ghibli movie you should watch. It's it's the perfect amount of entertaining and the perfect amount of has meaning to it. And when I also learned that this lost to Frozen at the Oscars, we all know why Frozen won. Let's not pretend. But this movie obviously deserved the win over Frozen. I mean, there's no way it shouldn't have won. But we all know Oscars are rigged more or less on many of the important categories. But I think this is Miyazaki's underrated masterpiece. I really do, and I stand by that opinion. And this is a little bit different video. It's this is gonna be I'm gonna change the title up to these videos, and we'll see how that goes. I think I'm gonna start making special titles for each video to explain my thoughts and feelings behind each movie. But I think I think today is gonna be a skip day for me. Uh, I may try to make up the two movies I've missed so far this year later in the year, and maybe I get to watch more than that. Who knows? Anyway, uh, leave a like if you want. Leave a comment if you want me to watch another movie. Subscribe if you feel like it. I mean, I'm not gonna make you, uh, but I would appreciate it. But anyway, thanks for watching if you made it this far, and I hope you enjoyed my rambling. And I'll see you tomorrow.